3, 2. Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. I'm here with the Wolf, and of course, this is just general share advice and not personal advice. And welcome everybody, and welcome Mr. Wolfie. And let's get going here, Wolf. And I just thought what we might start off today is just have a look at Einstein's for last week. So, Wolf, we know it's obviously with the XJO, it's been a pretty sort of tough week. We had the big fall, and it's still looking, to be honest with you, a little bit weak. Although we had a nice bounce overnight in America, that's it needs to do a lot more for me to be confident that we're going to find a base at the moment. I still think that the way the markets are looking, if the charts at the end of this week end up looking like they're looking now, I still think America will be going lower next week.
Yep.
But let's have a look. To have a look at what we did on Einstein's, and we had a few buy signals there holding up very well. I mean, PTB, I think that chart looks very, very good, and if it doesn't go next week, it's going to go in the following week. It just looks superb. SWM, obviously fundamentally a very good stock, had a nice little buy signal, Wolf, and certainly outperforming the market this week and moving up very, very nicely. Good to see ALD. It's going towards that target price of 35. It's not too far away, Wolf. Touch wood, we're going to hit it, and then we're going to have to adjust we'll adjust our stop loss on that one as soon as we hit it, because it's looking very, very good, isn't it?
Dave, just with the anecdotal evidence, and I am really almost like the gauge for everything, right? That happens globally. 7 SWM. I only watch the seven stuff, so like the voice and everything else. So they must be making a fortune. I reckon they're going up.
Yeah, definitely. They do have some good shows. I think they have the
footy, right? So yeah, absolutely.
SAS, don't they?
Yeah, they are on the road at the moment. I think they're on the up. So I think that's my anecdotal evidence says going up because I'm watching it.
All right. But ALD looks very good, Wolf, and again, hopefully another really successful trend for us.
Yep.
VEA, we don't often talk about a story, but it's actually trending nicely. It's going for the trend and successful week, as did little SMR. Obviously a coal play, and coal holding up very, very well, and fantastic price action. And you'd be lifting your stop loss if you're in that. Worley, again, looking recovering this week and not looking too bad. I'm just trying to pick up some of the ones I really like. Orica, just holding up again, up for the week and holding up very, very, very well. This little SMI, a little bit of a punting stock, just obviously going through the bullish signal.
A little bit of a punting stock sometimes.
Yeah, but if you're in that, lift your stop loss, because these stories in this market can be very dangerous. Now, great to see AQZ was one stock I thought was disappointing, Wolf. I really like to see this do a little bit better by the end of close today. Otherwise, I still think it looks sideways. TCL, you're seeing, the world is waking up, isn't it? COVID is sort of, and you're seeing like sort of these transport. Everyone's back on the road. Everyone's driving cars. I was in the city in CBD in Sydney yesterday, and it was absolutely packed again. Things are starting to get back to normal, and you can see TCL and ALX.
Just with AQZ, Dave, I just want to quickly mention, I mean, possibly the reason why it's just not quite performing as it should be, it's the fact it's one of the biggest costs is jet fuel, right? It is, if the oils and gas is going up, this is going to probably have some sort of pressure on it, price pressure. So this is one where it's going to fluctuate. It's got a good story. It's back on the up. It's had some good announcements recently, but the bottom line underneath the bonnet, there's that unfortunate jet fuel thing, which costs are going to be huge for them.
Definitely, and I suppose Wolf was saying that really with TCL and ALX. Maybe you'd be thinking if you went in that trend, there could, it is expensive. I even
absolutely those two. That's the next thing is, how far can they go? Because again, you got petrol prices definitely going up. Are people going to be maybe just watching their fuel consumption and not driving as much? So yeah, I'd still be watching these things. Just because the economy is opening, it doesn't mean everyone's going to be started driving around everywhere.
It's a fortune now, petrol.
Exactly.
Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So
watch those trends and just be careful and just having tight stop losses on them.
XRF holding up, top part of the candle looking good. Corporate travel, looking pretty good as well. Wolf Gud, I think I'd be taking profit on Gud. It should have really gone through the 13. Maybe it was this week, but maybe if you're in that, take a profit, and you can always buy it back if it jumps over trend. ALG, they're sort of holding in there, not looking too bad. Elders, these food stocks that we put on, I mean, just holding up very, very nicely above 14. CGC, I had a little bit of a sell-off, but not looking too bad. I think PSI was a really good price movement, and I think that looks like it's on that way to maybe that 480 level. Wolf. SDF, Steadfast, really impressed with that move. I think that could have a nice move next week. Let's have a look at this PCG. What are they doing? They're up for the week, but not really much. They could have done a little bit better. Again, you saw Ready, the tech stock, just struggling. I think it's still a hole, but I mean, you just really want to write off these tech stocks at the moment, don't you? TLS, Telstra, it's okay. It's flat for the week. It's beating the market. K&M having a lovely move up this week, and I thought that was good price action last week, and this looks like it could go on with it. But again, just be warned, these are risky stories. Macquarie, Telecom holding up very nicely. So if it doesn't go this week, hopefully it'll go next week. I think standout, really one of the standouts is Goodman. And I know we are trending this, Wolf, so I'm not going to put it on again. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're not in Goodman, I think it's well worth having a look at. And this looks like it could easily get back to $25, Wolf. Really liking that. And CQR was another real estate stock which I liked. It had a breakout last week, and look, it's really absolutely smashed the market, and it's up 447 and looks very, very good.
Yep.
So happy with the trending stocks. It just shows, doesn't it? If the market is just sideways to volatile, even slightly down, Einstein can generally speaking beat the market. Wolf. So we're going to talk about some stories today that have put out some announcements, and we went through a whole lot, and we thought, why not? NTO, there's a number of them, and they're just, the charts look miserable. Why bring our attention to
Dave, before you go on, I mean, I'm just intrigued. That K&M that you just mentioned before, it's a little risky. I'm obviously trying to work out why it's going up, because I'm always catch my attention when you've got something on your Einsteins that's powering along and there's actually no news whatsoever. So we've got what today, 29th, and they haven't had a announcement since the 1st of April. So you tell me what's going on there, because I've got no idea, but that chart looks pretty good. Maybe they're going to come up with a pretty good quarterly. I don't know.
But even so, these high risk stocks, if you're making money, just don't be greedy with them.
Absolutely. Anyway, let's move on to the stocks that's announced today.
Well, listen, can we just go on first of all, look at these American stocks, Wolf? Because
absolutely.
I've been surprised with you every morning recently. You've been getting very American with me and going, I don't know if you're watching too much American TV and you even sound sometimes a bit American, like, Dave, man, I love these American stocks. So you've been looking at these American stocks. Is that, so you're becoming very American centric at the moment, Wolf?
Well, no, it's look, I think they are, I don't want to say it, but they are unfortunately very centric to all our themes that are going on, right? NASDAQ is driving a lot of the things lately. So we've got to look at them. But pretty much by default, we have to have a look to see what's going on. And they've got a reporting season going on at the moment. So those 5 that reported overnight. So let's look at them and see where they're at, where the market could go from here on the NASDAQ.
Okay, first one, Twitter, which is obviously now been taken over.
Yes, so Musk is obviously looking to buy this. Interestingly enough, Dave, look, we talked about Twitter a little bit before, and it probably is not going to move much anyway, because there's a bid on it at a certain price. But really, it's been an underperformer for such a long time. Twitter could have been such a much better company, and actually a profitable company over the last 10 years, but it's just the model has always been wrong. So it doesn't matter. Look, he's taking it over. The fact is that they've released, again, fairly weakish numbers last night. So it's probably not going to help the sentiment. Let's move on to the next one.
Apple. So great looking chart, Wolf, and gives you it's giving you no reason to sell this. Looks very, very strong. And
yeah, interesting enough, it was a tale of two halves with the release of the report. So the report was very good. Everyone cheered it, pushed that aftermarket price up. Then they had a conference call, Dave, and they said outlook is weak, and down she goes, 2.24% down aftermarket. So not too bad. I mean, we've seen some much bigger moves than this, but there's probably could be some little bit of pressure tomorrow.
Okay, so what you're hoping for is the whole trend by the close today, the close this week. But I mean, the chart looks very good, Wolf, and Apple recently, any sort of weakness in news, it's just been an opportunity, hasn't it?
It has. So we'll see how it reacts.
Intel Corp.
Yeah, again, that's the theme with the microchips, microprocessors. Same theme from Intel, saying demand is waning post-peak. So let me just see look what they actually have trading on aftermarket on this one, and down 4% aftermarket. So as you can see, it's not the best.
Team, one of your favorite stories, Wolf, obviously.
It is, but it's struggling much like everything else, unfortunately. All right, so these guys actually delivered okay, but the market didn't like it. So it's down 6% post market close. So that might come with the pressure. I think that might, Dave. I think we're looking at, to be honest, I think we're looking at closer to that $200 mark with team.
Yeah, really going back down quite a little bit.
I think so.
Okay.
So. Over time, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's over time. I think we're probably going back there. And last one, Amazon. This is an interesting one. They actually reported, how can I say it? Weakish. It was weakish. I don't want to sound alarmist, but down 9% after market, Dave. That's going down. Yeah, that's going down to probably the 2,500. I assume over the next few weeks. That was weak. For Amazon to come up with those sort of numbers, I think maybe we are seeing, and I think the US came out with a technical negative GDP in the US. That's what they're calling it anyway, a technical, because they had some readjustments to be done. But I think, Dave, what we're seeing is a bit of a theme here where we talked about stagflation with growth going nowhere, and you've got interest rates rises and inflation. So I think this is the issue right here, and Amazon's reflecting of that. So potentially it's going to probably go down to 2,600.
Might be an opportunity on this one in a few months, Wolf. I'll just have a look.
So overall, it wasn't a great performance by the tech stock. So I think we could see down she goes again on the Friday night for the weekend. So if you've got any stocks maybe that you're trading in the tech space, maybe have a look at some profits possibly. It
doesn't look good, and Wolf, it looks like it's back to 2,000, doesn't it? Amazon.
Yeah. Well, that's fairly severe. I mean, we'll see, but let's. Yeah,
well, it's only where it was pre-COVID, right?
It's true.
I mean, the world is
but I want to take small steps. I don't want to scare anyone or alarm anyone. Let's take the 2,600 first, and then reassess from there.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it is going to go low, so I'd be hesitant buying it even at 2,500, Wolf.
Yes, I am showing everyone Blue Mountains. You're showing everyone Mount Everest.
All right, now we're going to talk about 5 stocks that are announced today. AV1, which we follow, we've spoken to Matt Ratty, the CEO. What do you make of that one, Wolf?
Look, like I've reiterated over and over again, early days. You've got to give yourself 2 years to see if we can hit that 10 million revenue wise, right? That's going to be probably the key for them to start looking at new investors coming in. So it's going to be a slog for the moment. It's coming off a very low base. Yeah, there's growth there, but when you're talking a quarter which had 500,000 revenues, it's pittance really. So we just got to be patient with this. But of course, at the moment, if you're not in it, there's no need to be in this right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose what they're relying on is that if you look at it, they're saying the Google cloud marketplace go-to-market strategy. So Traffic Guard's Google Cloud relationship progressed strongly over the quarter. It says here reflected in the launch of Google Cloud Marketplace to go-to-market strategy. So they started this in April, so just end of last month.
Yeah, they are rolling out. I mean, they are rolling out and growing, right? So that could be quite an interesting period over the next 6 months to see, 6 to 12 months to see what happens with that.
So Google say Google is introducing them to key to some of their key enterprise accounts. So that's the interesting thing, and is that relationship with Google and the fact that Google obviously seemed to like Traffic Guard so much, is that relationship going to really drive revenue for them over the next 2 quarters?
One hope so.
We do hope so.
Mm.
Wolf, RMD.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible chart. What's going on here?
Missed expectations, Dave. I think headline numbers looked okay. So I think they had top line, I think 12%, I think, of memory, when I read through it pretty quickly. There was a bit of growth in there, but I think it's just missed expectation, and possibly outlook wasn't as flash, right? So down she goes. And it was, look, Dave, it's an expensive story. If you miss expectations or outlook that's going to be a little bit weak with a expensive story, you've got no safety net. That's why value stocks right now, they're cheap as they're 12 times, 13 times. It doesn't matter if they miss a little bit. It's still cheap, right? So, but these guys, they've got no room for error. They're going to go down. So I think that's going back to 24, 25 bucks.
Yeah, no, it does look weak. Well, anyway, 3DP, obviously terrible looking chart, but one, Wolf, you're saying for the watch list.
I'm actually very excited about this one, Dave.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't even know. I shouldn't be excited about tech stocks at the moment, but when I read through what they do, the growth, because it's growing at 100% per annum, right? So at the moment, it's really strong growth. And the other thing is they are looking at their bottom line. So they are one of those companies that, remember, we focus on. If we are going to look at any tech stocks, we want to make sure that they are close to as cash flow positive as possible, right? Or profitable. One of those two things. And they are looking at the bottom line because I think there was a slight positive cash flow in that quarterly, which, on a 6 million or so revenue basis, that's pretty good. I mean, if you saw BTH with 113 million, they're losing 20. What's the point, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So
I think you got to wait for. Listen, you've got to wait for a good chart. You've got to wait till they turn profitable, right? And then
the thing is, what happened previously with it was all Bevan's leathery. As soon as he announced that he's coming into the company, it just went too far, too fast. It was just ridiculous, right? So it's just got to come back to maybe that 20 cents, somewhere around there, maybe even lower, and then it's going to maybe start forming a bit of a base, Dave, and we'll see those trend lines come back to, to some sort of normality, and maybe we can start looking at a trend later down the track.
Yeah, definitely, but avoid at the moment.
Yeah, definitely avoid for the moment, but put on your watches. This is actually a very interesting story.
RWC.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I mean, this has really been pretty strong. This sell-off, Wolf, from been as high as 650 and now back down to 4.
I tell you what, talking about expectations, they come up with negative growth, so basically it went backwards. Yet markets rewarding it for it. So potentially they have really set up a pretty bleak scene for everyone out there, and they've beaten that bleak scene. So that's good. So at the end of the day, not bad. The reasons why they're struggling is costs, input costs, Dave. It's just, you can't avoid it, unfortunately. The raw materials are just going through the roof. And remember, they've got a lot of raw materials they use because they use a lot of copper and so on.
So what? And basically, what they're just struggling to pass this on, these costs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how much can they actually raise prices by? I know they are quite dominant in the markets, but it doesn't matter. It's going to probably still be troublesome for them.
Yeah, it's just avoid. It's just typical of these sort of industries at the moment. Okay, Wolf, we're just going to end with one that looks good. So Origin announced, the chart looks good. Mm-hmm. We're not trending this one, but I'll tell you what, if you're in it, you'd be holding it. What did you make of their announcement?
Yeah, look, and they should report well with a very, very positive environment for them. So it wasn't too bad. I've definitely, if I'm trending this, which probably some of you are on a good chart, there's no reason on that announcement to sell. In fact, Dave, I might say even that if you're not in it, you might put it on as another trend for Einstein's next week, but I'll leave it to you. But it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it could be on there, Wolf. Have a look where it ends today. I think out of all the stocks we looked today, if you weren't in it, Goodman would be the one I'd be buying. I think it looks
wow, that looks sensational, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just looks like you're going to get that $25 out of it. On that note, Wolfie, we're live fairly soon, so I'm going to love you and leave you, and see you in about an hour.
See you guys. See you then.
Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye.